as humanity, like, since it receives that great blessings, have we earned this? Do we deserve this? Have we earned the blessings, that the grace that we've been given?
Mm. Yeah, it's not about earning it. If it's earned, it's not grace. Okay? But everyone deserves it, of course. You know, because what you are at the center of being is that absolute. You are that truth. Okay? So this is just shifting you back to what you should be originally. Okay? It's your pre-birthright. Okay? When one takes birth, then they get caught up in all of this other stuff. And if you want to remain caught up in it, that's quite fine as well. You can stay in suffering as long as you want. You can stay in the play of ego as long as you want. Not a problem. We won't take that away from you if that's where you want to be. We'll, in fact, open the door and usher you forward to go find that and play even more in that. Not a problem. If we find out you're really not serious about this path and you're just coming in, you know, for another diversion, we'll send you on your way to find a lot of diversions along the way. Okay? But yeah, anyone that is really wanting to find that and is ready to find what is that pre-birthright, then it's grace that's given. Okay? It's not something that's earned. Okay? You don't need to earn your way back to realization. Okay? You need to surrender and accept the grace that's in place. Okay? You need to give up. Give up establishing the ego. Okay? Not only just submitting to the teachings, but absolute surrender means I'm totally giving up and allowing this to fully take me over, to move it forward. So there's a big difference between submitting and surrendering. Submitting means, okay, I'm going to move my ego out of the way long enough to get what you're going to give me, because it's going to benefit me and it's still all about me. I'm going to allow you to give this to me. Okay? Surrender means I give up, I can't do it, that's it, God take over. And so there's a big, big difference between submitting and surrendering. Besides giving up partially, but I'm still maintaining control, versus that's it. That's it.
Yeah, and submitting can be done grudgingly too. It can be done, well, you know, with resistance. Oh, I guess, you know, if you say so, you know, and that kind of thing. There's still that, you know, that piece of control and wanting to have their way within it. But, you know, there's nothing else, kind of like they've been pushed against a wall, there's nowhere else to go, but they're still going to maintain that fight. You know, so and so there is that me about it. So, yeah, surrender is so different than that. It's a softening and opening. You know, not my will, I don't know, I give up, show me the way, I don't know. You know, these things are so different than, and that's a willingness. There's a willingness in it. With submitting, there isn't always a willingness.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And it makes all the difference with how this will play out. It can play out, it's totally different. I mean, there's going to be consequences that come if someone's resisting. There'll be the karma consequences that play out within that person.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you look at Christ, and he was very much the surrender. Not my will, but thy will be done. Okay? I'm surrendering to the cross. I'm surrendering to what has to be done, and not my will, but thy will be done. And totally let go and into that journey. Okay? So yeah, big difference between submit and surrender. Yes.
I'm
Wait
wa-
till we get the camera, and if you could speak up,
Okay.
because you're way back there and they need to hear you, so.
I have a question about what, when one can see the ego, one can witness the ego, and one looks in the mirror and knows that isn't who you thought, it isn't yourself, you know that. The strength that comes to make the will willing, is that the divine essence itself? And who is operating in the decision-making part? When you know it isn't ego.
Right.
You
So
can
who
see
is?
ego.
Yeah.
And so the will isn't just standing by itself, but the essence somehow seems to be directing, and there's just nothing inside really that you can say, oh, this feels like me, or this is my thing, or the self, or is that what is happening? That essence is now moving, and that's all there is? There's either ego or essence, divine essence?
It's that pull of truth coming through, there's that inherent sort of way back in the consciousness knowing that there's something else there, that there is truth, and if one moves even a bit out of the way, then grace begins to manifest and pull one ever greater towards that light. But yeah, ego has to be willing to give up part of its throne for that to happen, okay?
So the one that one in essence is the same essence.
There's only one.
One essence. And so it's that, or
It's either that divine essence or it's ego, okay? It's one or the other. It's one or the other. Either one is in reality, or they're in still the delusion and the illusion of the storyline, okay? No matter what that storyline has manufactured, and there are a ton of storylines. From the most degraded to the most sublime, there are a lot of different storylines. And there are a lot of sublime storylines, okay? They sound great, but it's still in duality and in delusion, okay?
Yeah. Well, and there's no who, the question is who, and where is the who? And, these questions start coming in as the ego's disintegrating. Who is it, who's speaking, these kinds of things, and then that nothingness. So, that's part of the process of what you're speaking to as the ego's disintegrating. These kinds of things kind of feel not so solid, like there's no me that can be found, but yet there is, and these kinds of things are part of the process as the ego starts disintegrating, and consciousness becomes more fluid, more freed up. And it will continue to cleanse and pull that away until just that pristine essence is what remains, which is nothing, a nothingness that's full. And again, that's not anything, people have heard these words so much, but it can't be described in words. Just is.
Yeah, because when everything falls away, there is no me feeling. There is no who. There is no, these questions are only asked by ego. Okay? Because when it all falls away, it's abundantly clear that there is no. It's not a separate persona. It just is not.
And there never was.
There never was. That's the great joke.
Yeah.
The insider's joke is there's no one that gets realized.
There never was.
There never was anyone to become realized. So it's the great cosmic joke when one finally steps in there.
Yeah, that's the big laugh.
It's the big laugh, because there's always the me that wants to get realization. And when it happens, that's it.